Hello, and welcome to today's AOE webinar, Social Media Trends and Implementation. I'm Drew Burns, Director of Client Strategy for AOE, and we're pleased to share this information with you today. We did this presentation at the AOE Leadership Summit recently and thought it had some valuable insights to share with our audience and our clients. Before we get into today's presentation, a few notes on AOE and what we do with our clients on social media. We work on a wide variety of different projects with our clients. Listed up here are some of the ways we work with our clients, developing social media content, strategy, setting up platforms, all the way to monitoring analytics and longer form campaigns too. Some of our clients are also listed up here that we work with within the industry. And now I'll get into the meat of our presentation here. So listed here are some of the trends and best practices that we're going to be talking about today. But what I really want to highlight is that everything here kind of touches on strong storytelling and creating engagement. So a lot of what you'll see today will focus on those items. Before we dive in, here are some engagement rates across various platforms and then separated out on by various industries. AOE uses Hootsuite, and this is from their dashboard, their analytics, and separates out everything from overall audiences to marketing agencies, the construction industry, nonprofit sector. And we've listed a few here that are relevant. You'll see that overall and marketing agencies tend to see a higher engagement rates on LinkedIn, while these other industries listed will see higher engagement rates semi-significantly on Instagram. So you'll want to keep that in mind depending on the sector you're in or the types of clients you're working with, what platforms make most sense if you're looking to boost your engagement rates. Our first trend is strong storytelling and engagement. So some quick tips on maximizing your engagement with your audience. First off, incorporating polls is a great way to incorporate an engaging tactic that requires little effort to participate and to set up. Many platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, and X already include poll options when composing posts. And make sure you're including calls to action with these types of posts whenever possible. So we would love your feedback, or please leave us a comment may be something you want to incorporate. And this helps you understand how they behave online. Consider incorporating live social media events as well. A lot of platforms have going live as an option for your platforms. And you could do anything from doing influencer lives to doing town halls this way. This is becoming increasingly popular on platforms like LinkedIn as well as Instagram. Make sure that when you're writing content, you're writing for above the fold. And what we mean by above the fold is usually on platforms like LinkedIn. If you're writing a longer form content post, you'll only end up seeing the first one or two sentences that are part of that content. So make sure you have an engaging hook in those first two sentences, or that you're getting people's interest within those first two sentences so that they'll click to read more and eventually interact with your content as well. Another huge trend when creating engagement is utilizing multi-image posts or carousels to create graphic storytelling. So this is great for longer form content like white papers or articles. You can pull out relevant facts or tidbits that will be interesting to your audience and tease the longer form content with graphics that people can scroll through and then eventually click for more information. Here's some examples of what those carousels look like on LinkedIn. You may have seen them. And here's some quick tips for how to create these types of carousel content. So you can utilize Canva or PowerPoint or any other design tool to create the images, export them as PDF files, and then post them on LinkedIn by selecting the Add a Document icon. This will create a visually engaging way to share tidbitted information from longer form articles. Speaking of longer form articles, blogs, or repurposed content, platforms like X and Twitter are offering higher character counts, depending on if you have a subscription. So we have utilized these types of posts with some of our clients, repurposing content that was written for magazines. And once that exclusivity agreement expires, we repurpose it on LinkedIn or on X, depending on what resonates most with our audiences. So again, this is a great way to republish old blogs or maybe evergreen topics or things that you really want to get the longer form content in front of your audience. A tip when managing engagement, we at AOE work with a lot of different clients, providing them social media and managing their accounts. So we have this decision-making tree to use when thinking through how to respond to a comment that you might get on a social media post, whether you're able to respond yourself as an account manager, or if you need to get more information or rope other people in within the company. We highly recommend doing this if you're looking at increasing your engagement within social media, as it'll help your team make sure that you're making the best decisions when replying to comments. Our next trend is about video and just the fact that it's still king. A lot of the content you'll see on social media platforms these days incorporate video or at the very least graphics into their content. When you are incorporating video for social media platforms, make sure that you're prioritizing short form content. People on social media need things mostly in bite-sized content pieces. Aim for videos under 60 seconds, although Facebook even limits videos to 30 seconds. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the specifications based on your platform regularly to make sure that things like aspect ratio or resolution are accounted for when you're developing these videos. While I would prioritize short form video, longer form video content is regaining popularity depending on the channel, the length, and the type of content. So things like webinars, if they're 45, 30, or even 60 minutes long, those are still relevant. They just might have a different place than your typical social media platform. YouTube is a great platform for videos like this, and that way you're able to house your library of promotional videos or educational videos in one spot for people to look at. Another huge, very important practice with videos is making sure you add captions and text overlays. This goes beyond just making sure you're staying up to date with digital accessibility, but also make sure that people that are scrolling through their feed are capturing the information that you're trying to put out there. A lot of people that are scrolling on social media are doing it with the sound off. So making sure you have captions or text overlays ensures that that information is still getting to them if they have the sound off while they're scrolling. Our next trend focuses on cultural fluency and microvirality. So to set the stage of this, to give you some background on what we're talking about here, cultural fluency is the ability to effectively communicate, interact, or understand people from different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives. This comes into play in social media when we're talking about trends that are happening or how we navigate the nuances of online culture. Any marketing professional is going to have some sort of interest, background, experience in understanding cultural fluency within these social media platforms. So really what we're talking about here are things like memes, slangs, expressions, or trends that are happening in social media. So here's some examples of memes that you may have seen around social media or from your favorite movies, and how people have maybe utilized those memes to add content into them that are more relevant to either their product, their service, or just something that they're talking about on social media. You'll see these types of posts getting a lot more interaction, a lot more likes, shares, all that sort of stuff. Make sure though that when you're doing this, or if you choose to start incorporating microvirality into your content development, choose wisely. Make sure that you're finding a meme or a trend that is relevant to your audience, not the entire internet as a whole. Make sure that whatever you're adding to it is tailored to your audience, but also is relevant to the actual trend or meme. And make sure you consider the risks of trying to incorporate a trend or a meme too late. Sometimes that might have an adverse effect on your audience and might, spur some negative comments. Our next trend that we're going to talk about is the creator economy, or you may know it better as influencer marketing, and how we integrate that into our regular marketing work. This is becoming a much bigger part of marketing, and you'll see micro influencers becoming more and more regular with smaller and smaller brands. So why are we focused on this, or why is this becoming a trend? 79% of brands say that creators boost social media interactions. So if they utilize a influencer in their social media lineup, they see a 79, they see a significant increase in interactions or engagement. Micro influencers, which we'll mostly be talking about today, are people that have anywhere from 10 to 50, maybe even up to 100,000 followers on their social media platforms. And they deliver higher engagement rates with brands like AOE represents, or brands that are niche to a specific industry, than utilizing maybe a mega influencer. When you're working with influencers, authenticity is key. 63% of consumers trust influencer content over brand ads, which I think is huge. So if I only anticipate that number will go up as time goes on. So making sure that you're integrating influencer marketing will be an effective way of making sure you're reaching your audience. Collaborating with creators that are aligned with your brand values is important, and I'll have some examples of that in a second. You also might want to consider developing teamfluencers, or employees that could be a familiar face in your videos or in your content that might resonate with your audience. When you're working with influencers, you want to consider a long-term partnership. As with most marketing efforts, but specifically with influencers, you're going to see the most return on investment over time, not just one-off integrations. Prioritizing platforms that make sense to your audience and that make sense to the creator is important. And ensuring that they have creative freedom while you're making sure your brand goals are aligned with that content is incredibly important. That's the key here. TikTok is a great place for influencers to be providing content, as well as Instagram, which kind of remains as a hub for more polished influencer campaigns. You also might want to consider podcast influencers, as podcasts are incredibly effective. And there's a variety of ways that you could work with podcasts to get to your audience. You could be a guest on a podcast. You can also do advertisements on podcasts, whether they are read by the host or digital ads as well. So like I said, here's some examples of some micro influencers and how they might, fit into a marketing campaign. Let's say you're an architecture firm and you want to get into some local markets to showcase projects or tools, or maybe even an event that's going on. And you want to collaborate with multiple Instagram micro influencers in specific locations to amplify your efforts. You want to increase your engagement, you want to increase website traffic, conversions, all that good stuff. So here are a couple that are considered micro influencers. Kel here is a construction photographer out of Utah. So let's say you want to hit that market. Kel has over 90,000 followers that interact with his content regularly. So he would be a great person to partner for that location, specifically in the construction industry. Mike Day is in the center here. And is a concrete contractor. So he has over 50,000 followers that interact with his content. And as you can imagine, his followers are going to be other contractors. They're going to be people that are working on the ground in the industry. So let's say you partner with Mike to do a demonstration of a certain application or a technique, or working with a certain material. That content will automatically get to upwards of 25 to 40,000 audience members quickly. You all probably know this guy. This is Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. This is an example of a mega influencer. So maybe not great for our niche campaigns, but he's huge in the trade sector. Gives you an example of somebody who would be a highly visible brand representative or ambassador. And he has 1.7 million followers that interact with his content regularly. Here's some resources that you can use when planning out your influencer integration into your marketing efforts. Influencer Hero and Influencer Intelligence, as well as FeedSpot, are great places to get background information on different influencers. Maybe find some subject matter experts who are also influencers. These are some great resources to get that background information started. Another trend is emerging networks, and especially within the creator economy. As we see more networks pop up, we are seeing more nuanced or niche audiences within these networks. So you want to make sure that you're understanding what networks are popping up and if it makes more sense to start working with different platforms. Threads is one that you probably have all heard of. It's Meta's alternative to X or Twitter, geared towards Instagram creators, short form content, and media posts. Blue Sky is another X alternative. Substack is a very interesting new platform for independent creators and journalists who publish things like newsletters or blogs or other longer form content. This is great for subject matter experts. It's great to find subject matter experts and see what SMEs might be already interacting with large audiences in the industry. AirChat is another great platform that is coming up, designed for live in-person events. These would be great for town halls, an alternative to the standard Zoom or Teams platforms that you see, a little bit more social in nature. Other platforms I could think of that aren't listed here include things like Reddit or Discord. So as you can see, there are a number of new platforms popping up, and you just want to make sure that you're aware of what's out there and how it might fit into your audience needs. So some key takeaways before we're done here. A big one is understanding your audience. Spend some time getting to know their behaviors, what platforms they use, how they engage with content, so that you can build that into your strategy. Make developing and integrating engagement strategies a priority. Long gone are the days of creating a content calendar, filling it up with content blurbs, maybe a graphic here and there, and calling it a day. You need to really think through your engagement, how you're incorporating polls, questions, calls to action, videos, graphics that are engaging and that are creating moments for your audience to either share, like, or even comment on. Again, video is still king. If you're not incorporating video, I would highly suggest getting into the game. There are a lot of great applications out there that can create stunning videos very easily with the help of AI or even platforms like Canva. There's a lot out there that can be done very easily and very simply. Make sure you're documenting all of this strategy that you're developing. If you're spending time understanding your audience, what platforms resonate with them, what messaging resonates with them, make sure you write that down and you document it. For us at AOE, this is critical because we work with a lot of different types of clients, and we want to make sure that we're on the same page with them, that we're conveying where we're at, what our key messaging is. All of these things that we've talked about are documented and shared with those clients. We have more information on our website about how to create a good strategy plan. So I would definitely reach out to us if you're interested in what types of content would go into that plan. On our website at www.aoeteam.com, there's a lot of different resources, including AOE Digital University. Our service pages, specifically the facts within the social media marketing page, have a lot of great information. And we have a wide variety of blogs and podcasts on social media topics, as well as other marketing topics that might be helpful. So that is the presentation for today. I hope you found some actionable insights into the world of social media, especially in our newly very engaged world. So thank you for attending. Again, my name is Drew Burns, Director of Client Strategy. And for more information on AOE, our services, or any resources to the industry, check us out at aoeteam.com. Thank you.